welcome to Pandora FMS. In today's video, we're going to show you a new option that has been added to the notifications that we will show in Pandora FMS alerting using Telegram. It is about the possibility of receiving traps in addition to the data that you previously received. In this case, we're going to focus only on configuring this section. You already have available on our YouTube channel a tutorial on how to install this integration to receive alerting with Telegram, so we're going to directly go to the new feature. If you haven't seen the previous one in the description, you may find the link to the video to install the integration from the beginning. Now we're going to move on to what's new. The first thing we need is to go to Pandora FMS library to download the new files that incorporate this change. Once you have them deployed in your environment, you're ready to use them. We will start by testing from the terminal that we have everything configured correctly and we do not lack any dependencies or requirements. We check that the files we uploaded have the necessary permissions and open the text file test-exec where we have some execution examples. At first we see simple execution where we only pass the Telegram token and the chat ID in addition to the message we want to receive. This is what we already knew and what we can see in the previous tutorial. Below, we find a more complex test that incorporates a call to the API and the data of the graph to show it in your alert that will reach the Telegram chat. In the line API_conf, we are going to insert the data corresponding to the user and password for connection to Pandora FMS console and the API password. You will have this data configured in the console, so before continuing to explain this file and its changes, we're going to access the console for a moment and configure a couple of necessary fields. We can verify this data we talk about from section Setup, General Setup. There you see the field API password and above it a box with a list of IPs that have access. In my case, I entered an asterisk so that it accepts from any source IP, and as for the API password, I will set Pandora. We save the changes, if we made any, and return to the terminal. Here we've finished configuring the data of API_pass and API_URL, including in the latter the IP of our console. In the following line, you can make some changes, including the ID of one of the models of an agent in our environment. For example, I put the ID of the model that reflects the CPU load of the server's own agent with an interval of 1 hour. Now we just have to copy these lines, save the changes, and execute them in the terminal. If everything is correct, it will show us the message that we see on the screen indicating that the graph has been generated and that everything is correct. If you open your Telegram chat, you may check that the message and the previously configured data reached you. With this bar working properly, it is time to move on to the console and configure the alerts. We will start with a command, where to the base that we had and that we already explained in the previous video, we will add some new fields referring to the configuration of the API and the graph. You see that as previous times we are making use of the fields to configure them below. There we will add the user data and passwords that we previously configured, also in the text file of the terminal. So it will only be necessary to copy and paste those same data. And in the data of the graph, we will use the macro _ID_module_ to obtain the graph of the corresponding module that triggers the alert. If you want to hide the fields, you already know that you only have to check the box that you have to the right of each field. I will leave the value of the message field empty since I will fill it in the action. Save the changes and proceed to configure the action. Give it a name, select the group and the command, and fill in the message field. In my case, I'm going to write a simple text where it will inform me if the alert was triggered or recovered, and it will send me the information related to the agent and module through the macros that you see. If you want to receive more information, you can check in the description of this video the link to the macros that can be used for alerts. Once this information is completed, generate a new template where after configuring the first step, you will go to the second to select the action that you want to use by default, and that will be the one we just created. Save the changes made in the template, and the next step will be to configure the alert in the module and agent that you want. I'm going to go to Pandora FMS server agent. In the use memory module, I'm going to set a threshold for the alert to be triggered. Then I go to Alert Management and select the action and templates created for the Telegram alert and the module to which I just set the threshold. Once the alert has been added, it will only be necessary to wait for the module to be within the thresholds defined for the trigger. In my case, I'm going to speed up the video so that the wait is not so long, and as soon as the condition is met, the alert will be triggered, as we can see in the agent's view. Now we go to Telegram, and in the chat we see that we received a notice with the text and the graph configured. As you can see, it is very easy to receive alerts from Pandora FMS in this messaging platform to be aware of the incidents that may take place in your environment. And that was it for today's video. Don't forget it, if you like the video, smile, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Remember that if you're interested in trying Pandora FMS Enterprise, you may contact us to get a free 30-day trial. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you in social media and in future learning videos.